Let's now see how we generate this list of messages. If we go back to the message section component, we have here this messages observable. Let's have a look at its selector. So again, the selector function takes as input the current version of the application state and it returns an array of message view models. How is this implemented? It's very simple. We take the current thread ID and we are going to guard against the case when the current thread is empty. So we will return the empty array. So this means there are no messages to be displayed on the list. Next, we are simply going to take the current thread ID that we know that it's available at this point, and we are going to go to the store. We are going to go to the threads map and we are going to extract the current thread. So we could have also put this on a separate variable. So the current thread here, we are going to take from it the array of message IDs from that thread. Given this array of message IDs, we are going to transform it to the actual list of messages of the thread. So here we have it, the messages from the thread. Now, this is the actual list of message domain model objects, so it's not a list of view models. So how do we map one into the other? We have created here a mapping function, map message to message view model, that we are going to apply here to the messages array. So this function simply takes one message and it generates a message view model. So as we can see, we simply take the message ID, the text and the timestamp. So these are simple direct mappings. The participant name is obtained by getting the participant of the message. Then we go to the store and we take its participant, and from there we retrieve the name. We can see here that in order to be able to retrieve the participants, etc., we need the state inside this mapping function. So we have passed it in here as the first argument of the mapping function. We have passed it in by creating a partially applied function. We have taken this function, we have passed it in the first argument as state, and this call here has generated a partially applied function that has not yet been executed, but as soon as the map array passes it in the current message that is being mapped into, this map message to message view model is going to be called with the two arguments filled in. Now, I know that said like this, it makes it sound more complicated than what it actually is, because if we go back to the message section component, what we really have here is we have defined a couple of observables and we have defined a couple of simple mapping functions. So from a functional programming perspective, these are pure functions with no side effects. These selector functions or mapping functions always take as input the new version of the application state that we receive from the store, and they output whatever the view needs to display on the screen. So in this case, a list of comma separated names. In this case, a list of message view models. So it's the goal of this selector function to output exactly what the view needs. So if our application would have 10 smart components instead of 2, this is how they would all be implemented. Simply injecting the store and setting up the selectors that this part of the view tree needs to display to the user. Now, if we go back to our running application, what we're going to do now is whenever we select a thread, we would like to mark the current thread as selected. So let's quickly implement that. After that, we are going to implement the write new message functionality. We're going to save that in the backend, and we are going to implement the switch user functionality. Once those two things are in place, we are going to implement the functionality that refreshes messages in the chat room. So we will have a working chat that can be used in separate browser windows. It's coming right up in the next few lessons.